And finally, new rule. Someone has to tell me how Americans can keep becoming more alike, but also hate each other more than ever. I was made to think of this recently when it came to my attention that vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance fucks his couch. Oh, I'm sure you heard it too. It was everywhere. One guy wrote it on Twitter, and immediately half the country was all in. Our hate for each other is so intense. We all just immediately believe anything bad about the other side. I mean, don't get me started on, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the dogs, they're coming for the pets, they're eating the dogs. Now, look, I think J.D. Vance is kind of a giant asshole. Still would love to get you on the show, J.D. But he doesn't fuck the couch. It's not in his book, as the rumor suggested. What goes on between a man and upholstery is none of my business, but in this case, it just didn't happen. But what is in that book is a much more interesting passage where Vance recalls how at age 8 he thought he might be gay. This really resonated with me because when I was 8, puberty was still a few years off, so I hated girls at 8. They had cooties, and I only wanted to be with boys. Well, that does sound gay. So the 8-year-old Vance goes to his grandmother, who he calls Mama, and who has 19 fucking guns stashed around the house in case Sherman's army comes back, I guess. And he asks her if she, a woman born in Kentucky in 1933, thinks he's gay. And she says, J.D., do you want to suck dicks? And he says, no, Mama. And she says, then you're not gay. And even if you did want to suck dicks, that would be okay. God would still love you. But stay away from my makeup. I made that last one up. Get rid of that one. I meant it. But other than that, I feel like this is a teachable moment. Maybe the Hicks are not as hicky as they used to be. I know it's a cliche that the coastal folks just fly over the flyover states, but they mostly do. So they're stuck in a time warp where, I don't know, farmers looked like this. But farmers use iPads now. They believe in climate change. They went to college and majored in ag. It's a science to grow food. Could you do it? Are there still prejudiced people in small towns in the former Confederacy? Of course. Some of those places are as bad as Boston. Have you ever been? But Kansas last year voted strongly for abortion rights, and they have a woman governor, whereas California is a state that has never had a woman governor. America's complicated. We talk about red and blue states, but every state is purple. 47% of Texans voted Democrat in 2020. Yeah, because Texas is a giant state, full of people with different ethnicities, philosophies, cultures, and forms of shit-kicking. Many rural traditions have even crossed over to become quite mainstream. Look on Pornhub. Now everybody's banging their sister. I've played all the cities of the Deep South, and they're not that different. They have Starbucks, just like up north. They've even got that thing where you can tap your card and tip 22% for no reason. Sure, it sounds funny when you hear, order ready for American Patriot. American Patriot, your decaf mocha latte is ready. But that's the thing. America is a funny, mixed-up place now. Belle Fourche, South Dakota, has a biker bar that's LGBT-friendly. And nearby Rapid City has a rooftop sky bar that sells $18 cocktails, just like the assholes in LA do. Eureka Springs, Arkansas is home to a 70-foot-tall statue of Jesus and is also the place the Advocate called the gayest small town in America. The third largest statue in the whole country is in Sugar Land, Texas, and it's of a Hindu monkey god. Yeah. Well, 100 years ago, there was a trial about monkeys in the South, and it really triggered people back then. But things change. Nobody in Sugar Land, Texas, cares now about Hindus or monkey gods. And they don't seem to be scared by Indian Americans either. There are too many people's doctors. Now, the food never really caught on, that's true. But an Indian American is gonna be president. And another one might be for the other side someday. And J.D. Vance, for all his insanity, is married to an Indian American. And despite what Laura Loomer said about curry, Mrs. Vance was welcomed warmly at the Republican convention. And no one but the truly deranged is thinking about curry. Although that may be why the food never caught on. I'm just saying, it's not all bullets and mullets out there anymore. Just look at the music. Maybe that's the best analogy for where we are culturally. I used to hate country music for a very good reason. It sucked. But it changed because the people making it changed. It's not some pickin' and a grinnin' bumpkin in a rhinestone leisure suit vaguely longing for the return of segregation anymore. Mostly. A lot of it's good now. It sounds like the Eagles in 1972. The #1 song on the country chart this week is by Shaboozey. Does he look like an Oak Ridge boy to you? Post Malone is a country star now, and you need a bookmark just to make it through his face. Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson both have the same hobby. At this year's Grammy Awards, Luke Combs performed a duet with Tracy Chapman, a queer black woman, and no one ran screaming from the building. In fact, they all loved it. The big hat people and the big hair people, they don't hate each other. They like and respect each other. They want to work together. We can't duplicate this on a grander scale in America. Why don't we just resist our worst impulses? And next time we're tempted to be hateful and just want the other side to die, stop and think about J.D. Vance's cocksucker-loving grandma. If she's cool with it, maybe we're not so different after all.